Hello everybody, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to do a video response to North Country Off-Grid's clever coin question about beginning to prep. And basically the question was, I think from Clever Coin and North Country Off-Grid channel was trying to facilitate some help for him, was how to get into prepping. I left a comment there, but I also realized a paragraph is not going to tell somebody how to prep. Not at all, in the very least. And I wanted to just do a video response and cover how to get into prepping and whatnot. First, I need a sip of some coffee. I really do. My olive green Yeti. And I got some Lavazza beans in here. Lavazza coffee in here. Anyway, about prepping. How do you get into prepping? Well, that's like asking me what kind of car you should have, how much money you should have in the bank account, what type of clothes you should wear. I mean, these are all answers individual to each person's need. So as a new prepper, there's got to be, if you're thinking about prepping, there's got to be something in the back of your mind that doesn't seem right, that you're, let's just say it, in fear of. That's got to be known to you. What are you prepping for? Because I don't think people prep just for the sake of preppers, just to be a prepper or whatnot. I mean, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, they saw an economic collapse coming, and they prepared for it. They lived through it, and they continue to prepare for another one in the event that another one would surface. So what are you in fear of? Now, I ask this question a lot of times to new preppers. And some say economic collapse. Some go way out and they'll say, planet Nubru is coming and it's going to smack into our planet. I know I'm making light of it. Some people say a solar flare, which is going to take down the electrical grid. For me, it's an economic collapse and the unavailability of food during those times. So I know what I'm prepping for. Now I need to start mitigating problems that I think might come up. Remember, I've never lived through that sort of thing. I can only do research from what I see online and try to mitigate any problems that I might foresee. So now that you know how many people, so now that you know what you're prepping for, you need to figure out who are you prepping for? How many people? Did I say that right? Now that you know what you're prepping for, you need to know how many people you are prepping. You're going to help prep for. Is it just you and your wife? Is it you, your wife, and maybe your children? Is it your family plus in-laws? You get the point. How many people are you prepping for? But that's going to also affect the cost of your prepping endeavor. In the morning, I have a hard time talking until I get at least one of these down. This is number one. By the way, my dog in the background laying by the fire. So how many people are you prepping for? Next is mitigating those problems. And every time, first of all, the most important thing as a prepper, I don't care what you see on all the sensationalized television shows or movies and The Walking Dead. I don't care what you see in other YouTube channels who have lots of money to blow on expensive toys to further promote their YouTube channel. The most important thing, depending on your economic situation, depending on your needs, what your fear of, is food and water. Food and water. And everything else that you prep supports the food and water. It's basically, it's a support system. You got your food and water and shelter, but we most have shelter. I can always mention shelter, but all of us pretty much have that already, right? Food and water and everything else to support that or protect it. Now I'll tell you something. Every time I go to the grocery store, my wife sends me to the grocery store. If it's just for 2 items, I always inevitably bring home 4 or 5 items. Those 4 or 5 items never go to waste. They go on a shelf inside a large pantry. And I stack up as much food as possible. Food that I normally would eat. And I keep doing that. And eventually, when the wife wants me to run to the store to get 2 items, I'm able to say, wait, it's on the shelf here, let me go grab it. I grab it from the front. Next time I go to the grocery store, not only do I replace those items, but I buy more. Food and water. Water can be anything. I got a couple of Berkey water filtration systems. And if you look up videos, you can basically pour swamp water into these Berkeys, and you will have better than bottled water. Now, obviously, if I'm going to pour sludge or swamp water into my Berkey, I'm also going to take additional precautions. I might pour it through a sock or some kind of sleeve to filter out the big particles. I'm going to use a little common sense. I also own a couple of Catadine hiking water filtration systems in the event that I need to bug out. Those two, you can basically put them in swamp water, and you'll get adequate water to keep you going. Food and water. Now again, I don't know what you're prepping for. For me, mine is economic times as well as a lack of food. As also a lack of food. I'm a little tongue-tied right now. But because it's economic, I'm going to also stack some silver for bartering. I'm going to maybe stack a gun or two to protect what I've already put aside. I'm going to collect a gun or two to protect my food, my water, my family. Because the people around you, rest assured, are not prepping. Rest assured, they're not prepping. They're part of the sheep. They believe, most of them at least do, believe the world is just beautiful. It's cookies and creams with a little cherry on top. That's what your world is. In addition to that, never tell these type of people that you're prepping. Never. Ever, 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 ever. First of all, they'll laugh at you. They'll gossip about you throughout the neighborhood. Not that you care about anybody talking, but now the entire neighborhood knows. Should your fear come to tuition, the entire neighborhood knows you're a prepper. That's the problem. As far as food storage, there's all kinds of tricks you can make food last for many, many, many years, 25, 35 years. Plenty of YouTube channels on here. Buy your food in bulk whenever you can. Sam's Club is my favorite place. Second favorite would be Costco. Don't buy the small bags of sugar for $4.99 when you can get a 25-pound of sugar for $6.99 at Sam's Club or Costco. The same thing goes for rice. Don't buy a 1-pound bag of rice for $1.59 when you can buy a 40-pound bag of rice for $8. Learn how to put them in Mylar bags. There are videos. You put your food in 5 gallon Mylar bags, which then goes into a 5-gallon paint bucket. Videos about how to do this, as well as sucking the air out of the Mylar bag, putting an oxygen absorber in, and then sealing the bag, and it's airtight, skin tight. Again, there's videos online how to do that. Prepping is about, and I'm going to end this video very shortly. You can't say everything in one video. Prepping is about mitigating the problems you see arise. So when I hear about economic collapse and the lack of food, many different situations occur that I need to prep for. I need to get out of debt so I don't owe these monkeys anything. They don't come taking what I've prepped. They don't come taking my shelter and whatnot. I need to store up food. I need to prepare for economic times so I can trade. That might be silver. And it's not just silver. Many of these sheep are going to want to self-medicate. So when somebody gives you a cheap bottle of booze for your elephant club or elephant present at Christmas, you might not drink. You put it aside. One of these sheep is going to want to drink. You might be able to use it to trade. Tools. Various tools. And I'm not talking power tools, because in the event of an economic collapse, many people are not going to be able to afford electricity, if it's still available. And that might also be you. During an economic collapse, there is going to be a chain reaction. Loss of jobs. Could be me. I might have to forego electricity. And that's why I have redundancies. Heating redundancies. Kerosene heating redundancies. Electrical heating redundancies through solar. Pellet stoves. You name it. Heating alternatives. Many redundancies, but everything is a prepping situation all unto itself. It truly is. I want to say one last thing about prepping. And there was a reason why I held up this gun. There was a reason why I held this up. Many folks, and this is the most important part of the video, many folks who want to prep, their partners are not on the same page. Their partners do not believe the complexities and the evils of the world. They don't sense the forthcoming problems that you do. Some partners. It's going to take some time to talk them into it. And hesitantly, they're going to probably say, okay, let's prep, whatever. If it makes you feel good, they'll give you that head shake, whatever. This is the very crucial time, and this is the most important part of this video. It is this point in time where you need to be a man and not lose the most important word, credibility, with your partner who is not on board. Eventually they will be on board, trust me. But if you lose credibility with them, they will never be on board. And it will be so difficult for you to prep. You buy so much as an extra can of soup. They're questioning you. They're ridiculing you. You buy so much. If you lose credibility, you buy so much as an ounce of silver, you got an argument on your hands at last days. Let's talk about credibility. When you speak to your spouse, and providing that your spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whomever, is not on board, but reluctantly willing to say, okay, let's put aside some money, That doesn't give you permission to go out and buy the most expensive toys in the name of prepping. Because you bring home a $2,000 rifle and then you slap onto it another $2,000 sniper scope, she's going to look at you and say, "What the hell?" But it's for prepping. Yeah. Folks, do not do this. Do not use prepping as an excuse to go and blow your money on things that you see that are cool, like what you see on television. That shit you can put aside. That shit has nothing to do with reality. Because I'll tell you what, a bullet from an inexpensive gun kills just as good as a bullet from a very expensive gun. Now, obviously, if you have the money to go out and buy the most expensive things, go at it. No problems. You got my blessing. But if you're folks, many of us, common folks, we're on a tight budget. Things are difficult. We can't be blowing money left and right on cool stuff to make us feel like we're men. Expensive this and expensive that. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna need, eventually, a gun or two or three, possibly. You're gonna need other tools for prepping. You might need a food dehydrator. You might need a canner to can your ball jars of food. You might need tools to work on wood. You know, your home is made of wood most of the time. Do your own repairs. You might need that stuff. You might need a lot of stuff that is a true necessity. But that does not mean that you go and you break the bank and put your family in a financial bind and lose credibility with your partner. Remember, when losing credibility with your partner, it'll make prepping almost impossible. It'll make your life almost impossible. Buy whatever you need, and I do mean whatever you truly need, within reason and within your budget. One last thing I want to say about this subject. A lot of people who are getting into prepping are in panic mode. This is something I fell for. When I started becoming a prepper back in 2003 or 4, I think. The year is irrelevant. I watched a few YouTube videos. I became addicted to these prepper YouTube channels. And I tell you what, it turned out a lot of them were doom and gloom channels with fancy weapons and fancy rocket stoves and fancy this and fancy that, preaching doom and gloom. Oh, they get 1 million views, 500,000 views. They were making bank on their YouTube channel. I fell for this doom and gloom. Oh my God, I come home rushing to my wife. We got to do something now. Oh no, we got to pull the money out of the banks now. They said that any week now there's going to be a bail-in. There's going to be a bailout. There's going to be a bank holiday. Oh my God, there won't be no food on the shelves in this grocery store. Oh my God, doom and gloom. She looked at me like I was an imbecile. Reluctantly said, okay, let's do what you think we need to be done. I guess what I'm trying to say is, doom and gloom is coming. It ain't coming tomorrow. You got plenty of time to prep. You do not, unless you've got the money in the bank, obviously. You got my blessing. Go for it, go forth. Buy everything in one day. But I'm just trying to tell you, you don't have to panic. Okay? It ain't happening tomorrow. It ain't happening next week. Yeah, could possibly, feasibly happen in the next 6 to a year. It could happen in 2 or 3 years. Prepping is an accumulation. For me it was, due to my financial abilities, it was a slow accumulation of things I needed to get by. In the event I lost my job, in the event I lost power to the house, in the event that people were pounding on my doors and trying to steal my stuff. It was a slow accumulation, a slow drizzle of purchases here and there. All the tools in the shed were not purchased overnight. They were purchased one tool at a time, when I can afford them, maybe when there is a sale going on. I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't feel panicked and rushed that it's all got to be done tomorrow or by the end of the week. It's going to get you in a financial bind. It's also going to make you lose credibility once your spouse doesn't trust you any longer with the money. Oh my God, you do not want to get in that situation, folks. You just don't. Anyway, start prepping, yes. Do it slowly, yes. Do it wisely and within your financial ability, yes. Do not use it as an excuse, though, to buy cool toys. With you got what I'm saying. I don't need to repeat myself. Go to the store, buy yourself a bunch of shelving units for your home. Find a place in your home where you can put these shelving units. Some people, they'll only have a few small rooms. Put one small shelf in one room. Put another one in another room. You can even store all your canned items, whether they've been pressure steamed canned or canned foods that you buy from the grocery store. That can all be stored underneath a bed. Many people have nothing. They have 8 inches of space underneath their bed. You can be very inventive where this stuff can be stored, folks. And obviously, whatever you buy, whatever you store, use it, rotate it for when that day comes. It is as fresh as possible. And speaking of fresh as possible, 2 days ago I ate turkey breast that was put in a Food Saver Seal-A-Meal bag. It sucks the air out. Food Saver. I didn't realize it. It was in my freezer since 2015. June 2015. Opened up a can of kernel corn. 2016. I used them to make fried rice in my wok. That was a few days ago. Last night I actually ate the leftovers, so that was 2 helpings. I'm still healthy. I'm still good. No sickness, no nothing. I'm saying utilize the expiration dates as a used best buy date, but also rotate your foods and whatnot. Like I said, I can go on and on and on and on, and it keeps opening up the doors for other prepping conversations. But just worry about your food, your water. That's your primary goal, is getting food and water. The gun, that comes later. By the way, this is a Remington 870. I believe it's $399. I believe that's what it was. I didn't spend $1,000 on a Bernelli or anything like that. This will kill you dead, just like a $1,000 or $1,200 shotgun will. Anyway, folks, you have a great day. I am going to go to the gym. It is my leg day. So I'm going to put on my headphones, turn the volume way up, and crank up to some Metallica Live while I pump out some squats. Again, thank you so much for the North Country Off Grid's YouTube channel. And I appreciate being able to do a video response to Clevercoin's questions. Peace.